Greetings, Mike Pachelli here. For this lesson, I'll be talking about the Beatles recording of Ticket to Ride that they did on February 15th, 1965. John began writing the song in late December of '64, but he finished it with Paul after they both returned from vacations. John had gone to Switzerland and Paul went to Tunisia. So on February 14th, they both got together at John's Kenwood home and they finished the song, working on tunes for the Help movie and the subsequent album. The story goes that Paul had a cousin, Bet, and her husband, Mike Robbins, had a pub in the town of Ryde, R-Y-D-E. And John and Paul used to hitchhike there, and that may have been the song's inspiration, you know, hitchhiking and using mass transportation. But John has said to explain it to a friend that he was in fact talking about the certificates of good health produced by the prostitutes in Hamburg in the 1960s. And John is on record saying, "Ticket to Ride was slightly a new sound at the time, one of the earliest heavy metal records. You hear it now and it doesn't sound too bad, but it'd make me cringe. If you give me the A track and I remix it, I'll show you what it is really. But you can hear it there. It's a heavy record and the drums are heavy too. That's why I like it. Paul's contribution was the way Ringo played the drums." But as usual, Paul has a different memory of it. He's on record saying, "We wrote the melody together. You can hear on the record, John's taking the melody and I'm singing harmony with it. We'd often work those out as we wrote them. Because John sang it, you might have to give him 60% of it. It was pretty much a work job that turned out quite well. We sat down together and worked on that song for a full 3-hour songwriting session. And at the end of it all, we had all the words, we had the harmonies, and we had all the little bits." So on February 15th, 1965, the Beatles are at EMI Studio 2, and Ticket to Ride is the first song they're working on for their upcoming film, which at the time was going to be called 8 Arms to Hold You. So now they were going to do something a little different. Instead of singing and playing live in the studio as they usually did, they just worked on the rhythm section and recorded the rhythm section after they rehearsed it enough times and got it down in 2 takes, with John on rhythm guitar, George on 12 string, Paul on bass, and Ringo on drums. And then they were going to overdub the vocals. So John and Paul did their vocals on one microphone, John singing lead and Paul doing harmony. And then the overdubs were John double tracking his lead vocal on the second part of the verse. Ringo played tambourine, and he also did some hand claps. George did those single notes, just pounding on on A's and B's and E's to give it that heavy sound. And Paul played all the lead guitar parts. Now, George Harrison said that the Rickenbacker riff was his own idea, and it was based on the way John Lennon was strumming the song when he originally showed the band the tune. And he also said that the staggered motion of the riff inspired the drum pattern that Ringo played. Anyhow, the song was mixed on February 18th, and it was the first time the Beatles did a song longer than 3 minutes. They recorded it a couple more times for BBC Radio. They did a live recording of it at the Hollywood Bowl and also, of course, at Shea Stadium. They played it a lot live in 1965, and they lip-synced it for British TV a few times, and they played it live on the Ed Sullivan Show back on September 12, 1965, and that was when we first got to see those thin-edged Vox AC 100 amps, and 12-year-old kid, me, at the time, was just blown away. The last time they lip-synced it was on November 23rd, '65. They all seem not too interested in that video. That's where Ringo is standing and playing the drums, and the 3 lads are sitting in a chair, and they all kind of look bored. John is really hamming it up, and nobody seems too interested in doing that, which is one of the first music videos, actually. The song came out on April 19th as a single on Capitol Records, and then the Help album was released on August 13th, 1965. So that's the backstory. Let's get started. George Harrison is playing his 12-string Rickenbacker on Ticket to Ride. This is a Harley Benton, which is 1/10 the cost of the reissue George Harrison 12-string. And I'm going through a Vox AC 30 1964 version. Now, the main riff is based on an A chord, root, third, fifth, and then you pick up the third and make kind of a sus2, or it's also could be thought of as a add 9 if you're a jazzer. a substitution for this chord. I digress. And the figure is 1, 2, and 3, ta ta. It's not exactly triplets, not perfectly, but it's the best way to think about it. So you go through the A chord and then you make it an A sus2, like this. And that's what George does on the intro and the first 6 measures of every verse. So to play the song, you need that, and you also need these chords. You need a B minor, you'll need an E, an F sharp minor, a D, oops, these 12 strings. If you don't finger things just right, if you bend anything, it's a nightmare. And then you'll need a G major 7th and a G major 7 flat 5. You're also going to need an F sharp minor 7th and an E7. And those are all the chords you're going to need. So you play that main riff, first 6 measures of a verse. Then when you get to the B minor, he kind of just arpeggiates through the B minor, playing figures like on the first verse he plays to the E chord, F sharp minor. Now there's a lot of open strings when he like before he gets to the D chord, he picks up that F sharp minor and you hear before the D chord. So on the F sharp minor it's F sharp minor again. Oops. That G major 7th to the flat 5. So you play a G major 7th, pick up your first finger, and make a C sharp on top. So, and sometimes he plays that flat 5 really delicately. Back to F sharp minor, and then he gets a 7 sound. He goes open strings, E into E7, open strings, and then the riff again. So let me play a verse nice and slow. 1, 2, ready, go. And again, with the 12 string, you got to be really careful how you fret things, because it doesn't take much to throw it out of tune. Okay, verse 2 is pretty much exactly the same, just slight variations, like on the B minor. When he gets to the B minor, he plays, he goes E, inside stuff, back to F sharp minor. Now this time he plays a D7. Same thing, F sharp minor. And then the riff. Going into a bridge, he hits a G on the top of that, kind of makes it like an A7. Now, on the bridge, he's playing this D7 chord. Let me move my chart. He plays a D7 up here, and he gets that little F to F sharp sound on the end of 4. So he strums, so he goes like. To an E7, E to E7. Repeats that. That's where Paul plays his first little fill, and then George just pounds an E chord, Verse 3 is virtually exactly the same. If you want to know it perfectly, charts and tabs are available at MikePachelli.com. Then on verse 4, same thing, just the basic riff on the first 6 measures. You know, when he gets to the B minor, it's F sharp minor, D7, F sharp minor, F sharp minor, E7 that time, back to, and then on the very end for the repeat and the fade, just play the main riff. All the way out. And those are all the parts you need to play the 12-string part of Ticket to Ride, just like George Harrison. George Harrison did an overdub with his Sonic Blue Stratocaster. I'm using this old girl because it has a lot of extra bite. But he plays this simple part. Whenever the main riff is played, he plays like a dotted quarter note and then an eighth note tied to a half note. So it's like just basically he plays on 1 and the end of 2. You know, just like if it's an A, he plays like that. And that's pretty much the kind of rhythm that John mimics when they do the song live. Now, the only time George messes up that figure is the first time it goes to B minor. He plays on 2 and 4. So on the first B minor, he plays, and then back to the dotted quarter. So he plays on the A, and he plays on the B minors, and he plays on the E, and that's it. So the first verse, I guess, would be like this: 3, 4. But every other verse is that's that overdub. And anytime, like when at the end of a verse where the main line just happens twice, he again plays an A. So that's the part you need to do the overdub, just like George Harrison on Ticket to Ride. John Lennon is playing his Sonic Blue Stratocaster on Ticket to Ride, and there's definitely some controversy to what he was playing on the record because he never plays it the same way live. Live, he just kind of pounds that overdub that George did, you know, really working on the rhythm. But on the record, you could hear that he's going between 2 chords, an A and another chord. Mainly you hear on the second chord an F sharp and a D, so it could be a D, or it could be a D voice like this, or he could have suspended it. I like to play a full B minor when I play the song. I like to go between A and B minor. Sounds very full. But if you play this 4-note Beatle D like this, and think of it as a B chord, it would be a B minor 7. So it could be. Play whatever you like. But you'll also need these chords. You'll need an F sharp minor, like this. You'll need a regular D. You're going to need a G major 7th. And let's see, you'll need a D7. You're going to need an E. And I think those are all the chords. So on the third measure, John begins, and he's playing a figure like, or is he going? those mixes are so bad from those early Beatle records, it's hard to tell. Again, I like to kind of do like a B minor sound, which could be a D also over A. Any road during a verse would be like this. Then he switches to a regular B minor. And then there's a lot of open strings in between the chord changes. So from B minor to E, you'll hear open to an E chord. To F sharp minor, open, D chord, open, F sharp minor, and then a G major 7th. Sometimes he cuts it off. Back to F sharp minor. And again, most importantly on that alternate chord is to hear the F sharp and the D on top. So again, verse 2 and 3 are very, very similar. There's basically nothing different until the D chord. So verse 2 and 3 are like this. D7 this time. F sharp. G major 7th. Back to F sharp minor. Now on the very first, on the second verse, the very first time, you could really hear it clear like that, and then, okay? Now on the bridge, he plays a straight D chord, and the rhythm is like this. And then there's kind of like a mute on the end of 4, where maybe he picks up his hand, but it goes like. So again, you can play a D chord and go, lift it up, and do an upstroke. Same thing on D7 then. And then just pound a low E, B, and E. Which would go into verse 3. Then verse 4, exactly the same again. Bit a little. And then on the very end, it really sounds like he's playing just a first position D. Probably. And the rhythm is like, it'd be 1 and a 2E and a 4E and. So very slowly it would be like. But up to speed. 3, 4. And that's kind of very strict. It's not that, it's looser than that, but that's basically strumming. So again. You get the idea. Charts and tabs at MikePachelli.com should make it all clear, but those are the parts you need to play, like John, on Ticket to Ride. Paul Paul McCartney is doing the lead guitar work on Ticket to Ride. He's playing his Epiphone Casino, and it's the first time he played lead guitar on a Beatles record. So he plays during those little E pounding breaks, just pentatonic stuff, based on these notes. Right? So he bends on that 10th fret of the B string first. That's the first one. Bend up on the 10th fret of the B, release it, fret 8, fret 9 of the G, and slide up 10 to 12 on the B string, and then 10s and 12s on the B and the E string. So again, slowly. Then the second break is almost the same. He just adds one extra 16th note on that first bend. He goes, and it slides up a little slower. So the second one again. So the first one. Second one. And then on the ending, he plays 12 bars of various licks, and they sound like this. Pretty much it's all in same kind of thing he did on Another Girl, which they recorded later that day and the next day after this one. But it starts here. Let's see, I'll play you the first 4 measures. So he starts on beat 2. It's a 1, 2. 1. Right? Then the next 4 measures go like this. Starts on 1, 3, 4, 1. And then the last 4 starts on again on beat 1, 3, 4. So if I put it all together, nice and slow for you, it sounds like this. 3, 4. 3, 4, 1. Well, I put it all together in a sound alike so you can see how all the guitar parts fit together. So please have a look at this. Well, there you have it. 4 guitar parts put all together to help Ticket to Ride kick serious butt. I suggest you download my charts and tabs at mikepachelli.com. Learn all the parts, play along with my sound like, and you'll get it just like the Beatles. And I appreciate your consideration in supporting my work that way. So have fun playing this great old song. And until next time, I'm Mike Pachelli. Thanks for hanging out with me.